This is the first mouse I'm ever testing from Attack Gear. ATK Gear, Attack Gear, I'm not sure how to say their name, but I'm very astounded with the F1 Ultimate version 2. And this is probably the smallest mouse I've ever tested this entire year. And I'm very happy because small mice are very rare and those that are available are a little too overpriced. Now, this has a Nordic microchip matched with a Pixar 3950 Ultra, which I have not heard or tested before. I've personally tried the regular 3950 and the Max version, but not yet the Ultra version, so this was a new one for me. Then, in the first game where I gave this a go at Delta Force, I got a whopping 123 kills. Crazy how lucky I was to be put in a lobby of noobs in the first game I'm ever testing this mouse on. Or could it be the mouse? Anyways, this can go up to 8000 Hz over wireless for the fastest competitive level response times. Then, with a Nordic 54L15 chip, you get a microcontroller that will output stable wireless connections without issues. And as for the sensor performance, this has 750 inches per second tracking speed, which is overkill. By the way, I once used a mouse with only 100 inches per second tracking speed with no issues at all. So imagine the performance of one that's rated at 750 inches per second. Then this can do 42,000 max DPI with a 50-gram acceleration matched with a customizable lift-off distance of 0.7 to 1.7 millimeters. Well, let's go over its software. Alright, so I have here the web software of the ATK F1 Ultimate 2.0. First tab we have here is for remapping and key binding, right? Let me try to key bind this to a different button here just so that we could explore more the options that we have. Keyboard buttons, right? We also have special keys right here. Awesome. And macros. Over at macro settings, I haven't tried recording a macro, so let's try that right now. Okay, so it detects even your mouse clicks and button presses. All right, so stop recording. All good. Save. On the DPI settings, we have here up to 4 DPI settings to choose from. Let me see if we can go to add the DPI file. Let me see if I can change this to 42K. Ooh, yikes, that's so slippery. So now I'm back to my original 1200. Over at performance settings, this is where you change your polling rate. And I have mine at only 1K. Parameter settings here, by default, mobile synchronization is turned on, so just turn that off. My LOD is at maximum because this is what I find is most comfortable for me. Key bounce delay is at 1 millisecond and I left it at that. In the next tab, this is where you set up profiles. You could import profiles or export profiles. And then at the last tab right here, it's pretty much self-explanatory. So basically, the software is complete. And what's good about this is that you don't need to download anything online because it's a web-based driver. Let's move on. Inside the box, you get the mouse, 8K dongle, cable, 2 sets of PTFE feet, grip tapes, and documentation. Out of the box, the mouse doesn't come with skates, so you're gonna have to apply them yourself. In my case, I have applied the skates that I personally got used to over the years, and these guys at Attack Gear are very witty, aligning the screws away from the edges of the mouse, so you can tear this down without having to remove your perfectly positioned dot skates. I like that they added in grip tapes here in the box, yet in my tests, the mouse is already very light, you don't need grip tapes anymore. And speaking of weight, my scale reads 39 grams without feet, and 40 grams with the dot skates that I put in. So pretty much accurate advertising, and I appreciate Attack Gear for this. Going over the cable here, it's not a flexible cable that I would advise you use to charge your mouse while in use. However, the thickness of the cable is understandable so it can transmit 8K polling rate, so just charge your mouse before long battle sessions. Moving over to the mouse, I'm not sure how they pulled the weight down as low as 39 grams. It's amazing. There are no holes on the mouse and they still made it below 40 grams. The shell of the mouse feels like an eggshell having a matte finish, yet I think this will eventually have shines on it the longer you use it, so just put on grip tapes to protect it from signs of use. The side buttons have very little pre-travel to them, though there's relatively more pre-travel on the clickers versus other mice that I have tried. It's not bothering though, and it's also not obvious that it makes it feel cheap. The scroll click feels snappy and doesn't require a lot of force to press. Then you also get ample feedback with scrolling up or down. So basically overall, build quality I believe will last a long time. I like the way it's built and I appreciate that they didn't put holes on the shell. Here's a quick click sound test. Hi guys, Daniel here with the Biboyharanero team. This is my real hand. So yeah, it's very ugly, that's why I don't use this for B-rolls. Anyways, here's the click sound test. Now going over grip and comfort, I think this is a perfect 10 out of 10 for my small hands. The mouse has a total length of 118 millimeters, a width of 56 millimeters, and a height of 39 millimeters. So this could pass as a medium-sized mouse to a small-sized mouse, yet I like that the hump near the back end of the mouse isn't too high, allowing my short thumbs to reach the side buttons comfortably. Then, given its ambidextrous shape, it's very easy to claw grip this mouse, plus I also think palm gripping or fingertip gripping would work just fine. Looking at the sides, it has some mild grooves to it and a taper that goes narrower as it goes down, allowing you to lift up the mouse easily. Then as for the clickers, you get grooves on it which aren't that aggressive, yet some gamers do not like this, and I personally have no problem with it. Overall shape and grip performance is really very good. Now let's go over the sensor. Now when I test mice, I first check for any inconsistencies with micro movements, and throughout the days that I've been using this mouse, I didn't feel any inconsistencies or any weird performance that's out of the ordinary in terms of micro movements. My flicks were read accurately, and even if I swipe really fast, it never spun out on me. It's just very responsive, very reliable to use even in competitive FPS scenarios. Overall, the sensor performance is very good, and so is the wireless connection stability thanks to its microcontroller. So there's that. Do you have any questions? Leave them in the comment section down below, and do check the links in the description on where to get your Attack Gear F1 Ultimate. My dog is barking. Anyways, this is the version 2 of the F1 Ultimate, just to be clear. We'll see you guys again next time. Bye bye.